What makes identity? What is identity? What is the value of identity? These questions are very vital and they have very intriguing and interesting answers. Some seem right, some seem far off. Philosophers and geniuses for centuries have tried to answer these questions. For an example, Rene Descartes is known for stating that he's a thinking thing, that he's a thing that doubts, understands, affirms, denies, is willing, is unwilling. Another philosophy is the body theory, where your identity persists over time because you live in the same body from birth to death. But what do I think identity is? Well, I think identity can be grouped into two different elements. One is social influences, and one is neurological activity. And I will be going through these two today. Okay, so the first element of identity is neurological activity. Now, because of our nervous system and consciousness, it will always be characterized as only for one individual. Only one human being who can experience their own neurological activity because it's unique to them and they can only interact with it. You can only interact with your own consciousness. Although all humans have neurological activity, each one is individually different. And your brain hallucinates your consciousness reality by Anil Seth extremely replicates this thought. Anil describes his perspective on consciousness as he dissects it into two properties. There's conscious world and conscious self. Conscious world is how we react with the world around us. Feel, sight, sound, smell, 3D, fully immersive. Then there's consciousness self, which is described by Anil as the specific experience of being you or being me. So how does this TED Talk help us perceive what identity is? Well, conscious world, where we perceive our senses and feelings and touches, it helps us know what things really are. This is a water bottle and this is a pen. But conscious self is much more personal. It's the characteristics of you, emotions, your moods, your behavior. What makes you you? The second element of identity is social influences. This is because of our experience and perspectives of society and where we may or may not be placed in it. So, for an example, right now, an African American may feel like they're a little bit lower in society due to police brutality and discrimination. People in poverty may see themselves as lower in society due to financial struggles. Richer people may see them as much more comfortable and higher in society. But social influences, in my opinion, are best explained in Metamorphosis when Gregor transforms into a bug. In the story, the transformation is described as one morning, as Gregor Samsa was waking up from his anxious dreams, he had discovered that in bed he had been changed into a monstrous, verminous bug. In Gregor Samsa's mind, he saw his family as alienating him and separating from him. This showed Gregor that maybe they didn't care about him. The transformation signifies being at the lowest level in society and social order, as he is physically smaller, feels small, and in the comparison to the rest of the world, he's at the lowest level of society. Another example of social influence is from the Racial Bias TED Talk, where this African American woman witnesses racial profiling and bias, and this bias associates African Americans with crime and danger and violence just because of their skin color. This bias in racial profiling can very much be the reason why we have police brutality issues and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. These problems center around bias and racial profiling. And identity is the reason for why people assume black people with violence, black people with danger and crime. Identity can be visual, and it may not always be in the most positive way. One way to prevent racial profiling and bias from happening is simply treating everyone with the same respect and equality. We are all humans after all.